Our founder grew up in a time just at the turn of the century. He was born in 1885. So he grew up into a society where the authority still ruled. And education was, I say so and you obey. And that was, in his nature, that was not right. I tell you and you have to follow. No, you are a person and so I listen to you. We have to agree to something. We have to come to an understanding. And so from the beginning, he expressed that. Freedom means taking responsibility. Freedom means to see what the other person has to say. Okay, so he would say, you are free from in order to be free for. We are free from negative attachments or inordinate attachments in order to be free for God. So we can talk about inner freedom, the detachment of things which enslave me. For instance, I use a typical example for myself. When you want to go with a couple of people to go to a restaurant, we cannot agree to which restaurant we go because one person doesn't like this food, the other person doesn't like this place, the next place doesn't like this environment, so on. We are not free to say, okay, you suggest this type of food, I'm okay with that. Because we are slaves to our tastes. We are slaves to our health. We are slaves to our inner disposition where we say, oh, I don't like this. That's not freedom. Okay? To be free means to let go, to be open. So inner freedom. And you can be inwardly free even in prison. The exterior freedom, the outer freedom, is immaterial. Where you are should not really make a big difference, but it does. Because we let the exterior environmental conditions make such an impact on us that we say, oh, the weather is so terrible, I just feel so down and I'm such a terrible shape. You sacrifice your freedom to the conditions of the weather. And that's what we do. Or somebody makes a remark and so he takes away our joy and so on, because you criticized me, therefore I will be upset and I will be so on. That's not freedom. So the exterior freedom is, of course, something which we all understand and see whether we have restrictions or laws. And we need laws, we need restrictions, we need commandments. But there is where Father Kentenich puts a threesome together. If you want to have very few laws and few restrictions and few limitations and obligations, the only way of managing this is you have to have a high degree of striving. For instance, an example is we make laws now about not smoking. But you cannot eradicate smoking by laws. You have to strive, and so you educate the people by saying what are the health risks, what are the financial things, what are the environmental things, all the different conclusions and conditions that contribute toward the dangers of smoking. And then eventually when you create a mentality, then you can put a law in place. And that's how it should be in our faith, that we have very few laws, but we need a high degree of striving. When we gave up that Friday law, church law, of not eating meat, the idea was we need to do something to commemorate Christ's death on Good Friday. Therefore, make a sacrifice to remember Christ's sacrifice for me, to redeem me. Now, all we see is we can eat meat on Fridays. We have taken away a law, but we have not lifted up the spirit. So that a mature Christian, a mature Catholic would say, well, I don't really need a law that tells me that I should not eat meat on Fridays. I find for me the thing that works best, not to eat lobster on Friday. That's not the idea. The best seafood there is. That's not the idea. So inner freedom means I create my own laws, my own striving, which tell me that on Fridays I should make a sacrifice to help me remember that Christ died on the cross for me. Or when I drive through San Antonio, they have blue signs on the side of the road. Cleaning up your highways, cleaning up your litter from your highways costs your tax money. That is not a law, but that is striving. And that's exactly that. So in Schoenstatt we work with striving, encouraging you to have a high degree of responsibility, of initiative, and of spiritual effort that you make in order to reach holiness. Then you don't need laws. And that's where freedom comes in. Yeah. So as few laws as possible, as few obligations, but as many efforts and as much striving on the spiritual level that you can. That is the balance.